Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Homestaging Talk Show Live. I'm Jenny Norris, your host, and have a great show for you today using a different streaming platform because I have 4 guests that are supposed to join me today to kind of give some updates on the SIDC, which is the Staging Industry Diversity Coalition. And this show, of course, is brought to you by IHOS, which is the International Association of Home Staging Professionals, of which I'm the chairwoman. And we do a weekly show with different guests. And the goal is just to have a great conversation, talk about business challenges, interesting things affecting us on our business around the world and so forth. And so I usually start off by giving announcements. And so I'm going to try to do this to share my screen here because it's a different platform. Share screen. And if you can see me, let me put my comments box on here. Go ahead and write comments in here if you are live watching our show. I am streaming to 3 different platforms. So we have our 2 Facebook platforms, a group and a page, and then we're also streaming on LinkedIn, which is kind of cool. This platform allows us to do that. So if you are watching, let me know you can see and hear me. My last show, I talked for a good 10 minutes before realized that nobody could hear me. So that was fun. Okay, so sharing my screen, waiting for the guests to come on here. We, of course, have our, we have our conference coming up, which I'm trying to get to, stream the window. All right, so this is not working. Well, here it is. So anyway, our conference is coming up. It's not going to be until February 2023, so it's a year away, but start planning now. It's going to be in New Orleans, so we're really excited about that. And it'll be the end of February, 24th, 25th, and 26th of 2023. And so tickets are on sale now. You can get early bird. Hi, Kelly. You can get early bird tickets now. It will be the very, very best prices available for this event. And if you've not attended one of our events in the past, it's a conference. Family reunion is kind of the wording that we came up with this last year because we are a family. And so it's an educational conference and vendor expo. So you're going to learn, you're going to get motivated, inspired, and then be able to meet a lot of our preferred partner vendors. We do a big gala awards dinner. So we like to recognize achievements in our industry and recognize those who are doing great work. And so that will be on Sunday, and we wrap it up with a big masquerade ball. So make sure to check that out. You can go to ihosconexpo.com. I'm going to go ahead and write this in the comments here. If it will allow me to do this, ihosconexpo. And so all the information is on there except the hotel. We have not totally locked that down yet. I do know where we're going to be, but we just have to sign the agreements. So I also want to give a plug for the IHOS Europe Conference, which is happening in Portugal at the end of May. So it's May 28th and 29th, which should be a Saturday and a Sunday. It's a one-day conference on Saturday, and then you have the option of attending a half day to earn your SSS, your senior staging specialist designation. And of course, beautiful Lisbon, Portugal is where we're going to be having that. And right now, I think travel is fairly reasonable. We have a special arrangement with this gorgeous hotel, very historic. So the Pestana Palace Hotel in Portugal. So go ahead and check that out and make reservations. There is special pricing for IHOS international members that are from the U.S. or not from Europe, I should say, that are coming in. They're giving us a special price on the ticket. So, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. And then some of us will be traveling afterwards for a few days just to kind of see some of the sites. And so if you're interested in doing that, message me. And I'll put my email address in here so you can send me an email if you're interested in, being part of that. It'll be a lot of fun. So we are using, again, a different platform because I have 4 guests on the show for today. And the other platform I use only allows me to have up to 4 people on a screen. So this one gives us the option of up to 10, which is exciting. So I'm going to go ahead and add these ladies in. I don't know if it gives you a countdown on your end, everybody. So just be ready that once I click you in, you could be live. Okay, so Deborah, you're first. And your microphone is muted, so I'm going to unmute you. So you have to, oh, there you are. Okay, so hi, Deborah.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear
good. Yay, it worked. Good. And so we have Deborah Plowden, and so I'm going to add Tanisha. You're next. Tanisha Ham. Hello. And then Sherry Garrison.
Hey.
Hey. And then Bridget King. It worked.
Right.
Hey, everybody. So those of you
Hello.
who are watching, I'm going to give just an overview. So the SIDC, the Staging Industry Diversity Coalition, was started in January of 2020 or 2021. When was it, Deborah? Was it 2020, right? It was 2020, right as COVID was hitting. So everything.
Yes, 2020.
Deborah was Deborah became our diversity director in November of 2019. And then things happened at the beginning of 2020, not even COVID related, but just things happened within the, cultural community. And we felt it was important to start a coalition for the staging industry to make sure that, discrimination wasn't happening, or that people that wanted to access the industry weren't being restricted because of factors that they really can't help control, that type of thing. So this has been 2 years. I can't believe it. And then, of course, last month was Black History Month, which was really important. And so I just want to kind of have you guys give an update about what you've been working on. And we want to talk about your businesses as well. So Deborah, I guess I'll start with you.
Okay.
And introduce yourselves for people that may not know who you are. Let them know where you live, company name, and then your background and so forth.
So hi, I'm Deborah Plowden. I'm the owner of Debonair Home Staging and Redesign, and based in Houston, Texas. Yay!
Yay.
But and I'm also the SIDC director. So I've taken this position on to help, as Jenny said, to determine if there is any discrimination within the staging industry, and if there is, what can we do to rectify it? And if not, what can we do to promote and move people forward in this industry? As we understand and look at the industry, we realize that there is not a lot of African Americans in the industry. So we are looking to promote more African American women and men in the industry. And not only that, we also understand that there's not enough diversity in the other ethnicities. And so we're looking to build that as well. We're looking to build the Asian or demographics, also the Hispanic demographics. And so we want to build all demographics of diversity and move our industry forward, because there's no reason why in 2022 we do not have more diversity. So a lot of people don't really understand that this is an industry. Like, I didn't really understand it. I mean, it's not something projected that I've found in my culture or in my growing up. It's not been projected that this is something that, little girls can go into, that it's in my ethnicity. So I'm looking to build that, and I want to do that worldwide.
That's
so
awesome.
That's a little bit about me.
Yes. And I just want to say thank you for stepping into the various leadership roles that you have. And it's because it is important that anybody growing up, that they see themselves reflected in an industry that they're interested in, not feel like that I can't be part of that because I don't see myself, anybody like me, succeeding. So very important. Tanisha, share where you're from and a little bit about yourself.
Yes, so hello, my name is Tanisha Ham. I am the owner of T-Touch Home Staging. I'm based out of Charlotte, North Carolina, so I always like to say go Tar Heels.
Yeah.
I've been into staging since I was a very, very small child. I like to always share the experience with my mom, because my mom is very creative. She's very that woman. She's always been that woman for me. So being able to grow up in a household where my mom is always making things look good, always making us feel good, and always willing to make everything be top notch. So growing up in a household with that expectation has always been something I've always been proud of, and also been a passion of mine. I'm a true believer of following your passion. So if you're able to take your passion and not only be able to earn from it, but also be able to grow from it, which is one of the main reasons that I wanted to explore the opportunities of getting into staging. I myself started T-Touch Design about 5-6 years ago when I first became a member of the AHAS. Received my certificate in staging, was super excited about that. So now during the whole pandemic, I've made it a goal of mine to be able to give back to my community. So you have a lot of things going on in the real estate now where some of the market is up, some of the market is down, things are crazy. And we have clients that are selling their homes. So being the pandemic is so up and down, we want to make sure that we're able to help everyone as they are preparing their home for sale. And I'm just very proud to be into this industry where I can be able to give back and be able to help those that are able to put their house on the market and be able to give them the best return that they possibly can be. So I'm happy to be a part of it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. Sherry, go ahead, and you're next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sherry Garrison, owner of iStage and Design here in Dover, Delaware. I am super excited that our numbers are going down and we're kind of getting back out there, getting into the real estate industry. So my goal going forward is to get in touch with some of these realtors out here. I've seen a lot of homes online that are empty, half staged, and I'm thinking, I can go out there and just present myself and make a difference so we can get those homes sold out there. We've truly been sitting stagnant for 2 years on the East Coast, and I'm just excited to get out there.
Yes, absolutely. And I concur. I'm excited that, things seem to be sort of returning back to the new normal, if you will. So it's great. Bridget.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I am Bridget King. I am the owner, lead stager, CEO of Captiva Design, interior decorating, and home staging based here in beautiful South Florida. I cover the Tri-County area. That would include Miami-Dade County, Fort Lauderdale, and the Palm Beaches. I have been a stager now for 18 years, serving our community with all of their vacant home staging, redesigned home staging, yacht staging, holiday decor, and much more. I love serving the people, and I'm especially proud to be a part of IHOS. And I can tell you that the group, the SICD group, was necessary. And I thank you, Jeannie, for allowing us to gather together as African American decorators, stagers, redesigners, to have a place where we feel safe, to have a place where we can voice our opinions and our situations that only we can experience as African American men and women stagers. So thank you for that platform.
Absolutely, definitely necessary. And so let's kind of talk about, from the start 2 years ago to where we are now. And the last time I had you on, we had our keynote. Deshauna was on with you, which was really fun. Let's talk about pick up from like last October to now. What do you see has changed in the industry? Have things changed? What kind of work do we still have to do? What progress are you guys making together collectively?
So I guess I'll start. I would say that we have seen, quite a bit of progress. There's still a little bit more progress that we need to move forward. And the reason why I say that I feel like we've seen progress is because I feel like that there was an awakening in the whole real estate industry as a whole. So not just us as stagers, but realtors and terminologies that were being used before, like a master bedroom, that, we work really hard here in the Houston area to not say that. We call it a primary bedroom. And so things like that, I feel like has moved us forward, because now people, I've gotten emails where people are saying, hey, I want to hire you, because I don't know if their office has told them that, hey, we need to hire more, people of color. I don't know, but I've gotten emails like that. So I think that now people are saying, let's hire people because of the talent that they have, and let's not hire them because what they look like. Can they do the job? And that's the biggest thing. So I feel like that there's been growth there. I feel like there's been growth within our own meetings and our own little core group, because we have an opportunity to be able to just be real with one another, to be able to bounce ideas off of one another, and like I said, I feel like we've grown forward, but things are still there. Probably about 2 months ago, I went to a home and was doing a occupied consultation. And so, yes, we had to go through that. She's an African-American lady. So we had to go through taking down the artwork. And she had her home on the market probably like a year prior. It's like 1.5 or 6 million. I don't remember the price point on it. And so she said, I don't want to be redlined. And I go, well, what do you mean by that? Because she was saying, she said, yeah, I know I have to take down the artwork because if people come in by ethnicity, then they may not buy the house. So even though we're moving forward as professionals in this industry, we now have to make the general public or the understand that we are moving forward, that we are moving in a direction where that should not happen, or those things should not happen. They had to happen in the past, of course they have, and she's an older lady, so she's probably experienced that. So for me, it was great that I was there. I was so happy that I was there because I was able to talk with her. I acknowledged what she said because I know it was true. I acknowledged it and I was like, yes, you're right, and here's what we're going to do, and here's how we're going to move forward. And so she calmed her nerves, she calmed everything, and she trusts myself and a realtor as professionals. So I think that we are moving forward.
So for people that may not understand that term, what is redline? What does she mean by that?
So what she meant by that was that if someone comes into her home and they see that or can tell that an African-American person lived there because of the artwork, they may not buy the house. Even though a house is a beautiful home, a great price point, but that used to be a thing. And I can't even give you years of when that used to happen. But it used to happen like that. It used to be, let's just be real here. It used to be, hey, we don't want to cross the tracks. We don't want to buy a house across the tracks because those houses across the tracks aren't worth anything. And they are in neighborhoods that are not worth anything. And so people of different races didn't want to go into those neighborhoods. And you can't say that now. I mean, for even here in Houston, there's so much diversity. Like people, you can't tell what their ethnicity is just by pulling up in a neighborhood anymore. So that's what she was talking about, and that's what her was. So I hope I explained that really well so that people can understand that.
And I think in the real estate industry, there was also the whole awareness of agents not showing particular properties, kind of goes hand in hand, the red line, not showing particular things, and they've been called out for that. And as stagers, I don't know about you guys, but I'm like, somebody needs a stage. I go everywhere, and I've never been like, I'm not going to this place because of, certain part of town. I didn't even know parts of town when I moved to Denver that were good or bad or whatever. It's like somebody needs help, I go. And so I think in our industry, because we're sort of a microcosm of real estate, sorry, somebody's ringing the doorbell. Tammy, she's got to be on patrol. Sorry, everybody watching. But I think that's important that, that doesn't happen within our industry as well, because I feel like, and I'm sure you guys agree as well. I don't look at where the house is or think like it's a particular ethnic group, and I'm not going to stage that place. It's like they need our help. So
yeah.
But the real estate industry as a whole, it really has become much more aware and being held accountable for agents that might do that. And I think that's a good thing.
Right. I totally agree with that as well.
Yeah.
Some of my experiences since October, I can agree with Deborah. Things have picked up some, and some things are still the same. One thing I do want to give hats off to when it comes down to the pandemic, even though it's left some of us or have some of us in a slump, it has been a very powerful moment because it's given a lot of people time to explore their passion, giving them time to be able to see exactly what is it that they may be interested in that they never knew that they were interested in. So as I'm going through social media and things of that sort, I've noticed that I do see a lot more women of color that are into designing, that are more into decorating and just small things as far as projects inside their home, redoing their home, making it look or appeal to them in a different fashion. So it takes honor in me to be able to go through social media and see those that look similar to myself that are also able to, put their creative side at a high reach. So I'm totally excited about that. Even though the pandemic has not been that great, I do think there has been some positive things that has come out of it.
Well, I think you're right. The connection, and there's actually a Facebook group that's for, I don't forget what it's called. I don't know, it's like Women of Color, but it's all the design. And so I'm not eligible to join, but I wish, because I know they probably have some really fun ideas and so forth. But I like that there are some groups specific to kind of encourage that within a particular demographic, cultural, racial, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, there's a lot of really wonderful groups out there. And I think you're right. Seeing a lot of more women and men that are, different races and so forth getting involved in staging. They, when I did an assessment probably 2 years ago, African American was the number two, you know, group of stagers. So white, then African American, then it was Hispanic, and then East Indian and Asian were very small in population as far as people in the industry. So that was encouraging, but it was still a very small or much smaller percentage than we really want to see. And so and I agree. The pandemic, I think, has made a lot of people look at, what do they really want to do?
Right.
What's their passion? We can do a lot of what we do even remotely. We've learned that with the pandemic. You don't necessarily have to be able to go to somebody's house. So even if you don't live in a particular area, you can have a client that you do a consultation with. And there were a lot of actually stagers that kind of came with like e-design, ways to be able to help people that maybe weren't even in their own region. So
Right.
that's really good. What about you, Sherry? You're muted. So make sure to unmute yourself. There you go.
Sorry. I'm sorry. What was the question?
Just kind of what have you, the last couple of years, and then specifically from October forward, after we had Deshauna on, any changes or things you've experienced that, that we need to highlight or things like that?
Well, the group that we're all a part of has been really helpful, if not to anyone else, to me, because Deborah, Bridget, and the others, they have really encouraged me to, get on my game, hold me accountable, and just to really put myself out there. I was truly living off of fear, really living off of fear, and having to get over that and starting to get over that. And then life happens. So this past year, just going through a season of loss. And now I am getting better and I'm ready. I'm ready to get back out there. Like I said, our numbers are down. So I'm kind of anxious to get out there and really start, promoting myself. Like, this is what I can do. This is how I can help. And yeah, so for the last year or so, that's kind of, like I said, a little lost there, but just getting back on my game. Yeah, because I appreciate the certification that I received in 2020, and like I said, just a little after that, life happens, but now it's a year, so
Good.
I'm ready.
Good,
Yeah,
good.
I'm ready. But I do appreciate the group, the coming together of Black stagers and sharing their knowledge, just really just loving that every second month of the every second Sunday of the month, just kind of getting together and just learning. That has been really helpful for me.
That's great. Yeah. And this will be a, 2022 new year, and it's good.
Mhm.
It's good to have colleagues to keep you on track and to
Yes,
encourage and hold
yes,
you accountable
yes.
too.
I wish we have more. I truly do. I see so many other stagers online, on Instagram or Facebook, and I would love for them to join us.
Yeah. Well, so Deborah, how can people join SIDC? And we'll get back to you, Bridget, in a second. Are they just need to reach out to you if they want to be part of the process?
Well, they go on stage.com, I think, right?
Mhm.
There's
Yeah.
a link there you can sign up, and then I will get that information and reach out to whomever. Or if you decide you don't want to go that route, you can email me directly. And that is info@debonairhomestaging.com or deborah.plowden@ihos.com. So there you go. Or you can call me 832-970-1519. Instagram Messenger, however you want to do it. Just get in touch with me. I promise you I'll get back with you.
That's great. All right. And so Bridget, what have you seen as from October till now, or just sort of like last year, the last 2 years? How have things changed? Have you seen them get better? Any recent experiences you've had?
Yes. So I too would agree. I have seen some improvements and some changes. I have always, from day one, been an advocate for trying to educate the public and the real estate community about diversity and home staging. And so I've had many young women mentor and train with me, women of color and Hispanic women included, because I think it's important that there is representation in our industry. I've been in it 18 years, and I was one of the first in South Florida. I was by myself for a very long time. I had no mentorship and I had no group to be a part of specifically for African American stagers. I was part of our chapter group, which is very encouraging, and I was a president of for the last 2 years. And in my tenure, I specifically reached out to other African American and Hispanic women to be a part of our organization. And so we have increased the numbers there here in South Florida. So my market might be a little different to some of the other markets around the country. We are heavily, heavily diverse in Hispanic culture, Haitian culture, Jamaican, Trinidadian, Bahamian, all over the Caribbean, especially in South Florida. And so with that, in parts of South Florida, funny enough, if you don't even speak Spanish, you really aren't going to be successful, doing business down there. And that's just the reality of it. This is not anything that I'm making up. But I think it's important that we continue to support each other and to promote diversity. There's so many talented African American stagers, decorators, event planners, artists, architects, landscape. They're out there, but nobody knows about them, right? And the opposition that African American people have had, I think it's not that they're not talented. I think it's that probably white people may not trust their abilities. And so sometimes what we have done is we have discounted ourselves, right? We get a job and we're so desperate to break in that we discount our value and our worth and what we bring to the table. And so we have really been putting out the message that we need to stop that. Like, I am as good, if not better, than some of my white or Hispanic or Asian or Indian counterparts. I can do the job and I can do it well. The other thing that we have had in the background too is that when we get the job, we have to excel. I mean, we need to give 120% to make sure our work shows up beautifully, that we show up on time, and that we deliver a product that our clients need and want, so that that listing is sold in record time, that the end result is very good, right? As our white counterpart. So I feel like a lot of times we have to do the extra. We have to go a little bit above and beyond because we have to prove ourselves. Once we have proven that we can successfully do the job, then people tend to relax a little bit, right? We know that people like to work with people that they like, they know, and they trust. So the trust factor is super important to building an African American staging business, I believe, in our real estate and industry.
I agree. And I had Nikki Watson on a few weeks ago. And of course, she's got a huge business in Dallas, expanded to Atlanta. She's doing so many wonderful things. She has the HGTV. And I feel like I want to get to the point in our industry and just in general where people can be recognized for their work and get the accolades. And it's not, oh, it's because she's Black. You know what I mean? That has nothing, that the skin color has nothing really to do with it. It's about their abilities and their talent and so forth. And I don't think we're there yet. I think it's still, minorities are looked at as an anomaly and sometimes used for, television and so forth. And I don't know how to phrase this in a way so that people who are either producing the show or watching the show are like, oh, they're giving exposure to that group, instead of saying she's a wonderfully talented person like all of you are. And getting opportunities like that should be based on their talent. And I'm not saying that it was based on her skin color, but in general, what I'm saying, there's her. I know Tiffany, there's a gal on HGTV that I was looking at having as a keynote. Her name's Tiffany. I know it's not King, but anyhow, but there's just not that many.
Tiffany Brooks.
Tiffany Brooks, that's it. Thank you. Because Tiffany's part of the group. There's not that many people of color on these shows. And so it shouldn't be like, oh, the network saying, oh, we need to have more minorities on, so let's throw a bone to this person. I hate that concept. It should be recognized for your talent first, and giving the accolades regardless of what you look like, male, female, whatever ethnic background. It's the people who work with you and want to recognize you because of how fabulous you are. So I don't think we're there yet.
Well, we are seeing, I'm really happy to say, we are seeing the most African American HGTV, DIY, A&E shows I've ever seen before in the history of home improvement TV. I'm seeing that. I'm seeing more of that.
And I think
now.
That's really important, because that'll help drive awareness of various industries and get people that look like those people go, oh, I can be successful in it too. It's not just one group gets to succeed or whatever. And I don't know. I guess it depends on where you live and who you're dealing with, but I'm hoping that people are hired because of their talent and so forth, and not because of what they look like. And so as a white person, I don't know that I've experienced that. I'm sure the only thing I might have experienced discrimination wise is male versus female. Women often have to prove ourselves more in an industry that we have to work hard, especially if you're a CEO of a company and not being seen as an Uber B, being running a company. We can be tough and not be labeled, versus a man can be tough and be successful. So we have that bias sometimes. But I haven't experienced the other, not being hired or being considered because of what I look like. I think age, that it would become more of a factor, the ageism, even though anybody can succeed in our industry. As people get older, younger agents or clients and so forth might look at someone like me who's in her 50s and say, oh, she's not going to give us the style that we want. So this concept of not labeling and discriminating crosses over a bunch of different paths. And I feel like you guys have the triple, strike one, strike two, strike three. You're dealing with as African-American women, business owners of a certain age. You know what I mean? It's just like, we have to change that.
There, I think that where we still fall short is, I'll speak on behalf of the small towns because most of us on this live stream live in major metropolitan cities. But I have heard from some of the stagers who are in smaller towns where there is less diversity. They're struggling. They're struggling to get a job, because it's black or white, and they're just not respected. They've tried to reach out to agents. They've tried marketing, they've tried the advertising, and they're just not, they can't get that business up and running. So I think some people in the smaller communities across the country who really want to do this work, they're struggling.
So how can we help them? What are some ideas that maybe, I immediately started thinking about like doing features, some sort of ways to get exposure to these business owners that are, African American or Hispanic, East Indian, give some feature exposures through IHOSP and other means. That's something I can help do that. But what else can we do as an industry, and then as an SIDC, what else can we do to help?
I would say, I think it's a great idea when you have African American realtors that are able to reach out to their African American stagers. Again, I think that with the education that's there, if they know the importance of, which they should, the importance of what staging can do to prepare that home before it goes onto market, I think that's a really important factor. And I think that once that realtor is able to gain that knowledge, of course, and then they're able to connect with someone of color, I think that'd be a good place to start, because there's a connection there, and then we're helping each other. And then you just continue on and you're going from that aspect.
I think that's, and I agree. I think, you want to work with people who you share similar interests and so forth. So that'd be a good point. But what if there aren't that many realtors of color in a town like that? So what Bridget is saying, there might not be, that is a challenge. And I feel for those people that are struggling in those small towns. I feel like, the ethnic diversity may increase, but it could take a long time. So how do we help them get the exposure and credibility that they deserve that's not based on skin color?
Again, with the social media that's out there, you have not only blacks, you have whites, you have a lot of people like Bridget was saying that's doing a lot of they're doing their own thing and just promoting it out on social media. Social media now is so huge now. You can sit at home and you can put some things on social media and then you can rack up income within minutes. Is the time now is just so different. But if there's a way that social media can be involved, I think that's a huge start because you have social media platforms that range from different age groups. I mean, from young kids all the way up to some grandparents are on social media. So just being able to have access to social media, that platform in some aspect, and being able to show those different dynamics as it relates to African American in decorating and staging or any type of creativity, acknowledging that, putting that out there and making it visible for everyone to see. And then definitely platforms as such, having more platforms like this being live, being able to broadcast out to a larger audience would definitely be a plus too, in my thoughts.
Yeah, and I think we can easily do, because my mind's, I'm just thinking of like ways to promote. We could do features on social media, as you said, with the SIDC logo and iHospice. So just get the exposure out there for the industry members who want to have their work featured, and we can be, help promote that, plug that. And then also, I mean, we're on a lot of different platforms. As you said, you have to be on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook,
Right.
So I think so, Deborah, you and I can talk afterwards and kind of come up with a strategy for that. There's also ways we can reach, communities with other marketing, but I think it's the feet on the ground and the awareness, and even doing like a double blind survey. My wheels are also turning on that, being able to show work, which do you like best, that is just generic, and then you put the person's face as far as who the stager is. I'd be interested to see how the numbers would differ if they saw that, and that it would be an interesting reflection or insight to our industry to see just how far we've come or how much work we have to do based on the results of that. So, because a lot of people will say they don't have biases, but when it comes to actually making decisions for business, who they're going to work with, that I think that does become a factor. And I feel like we have made some headway to get past that. And the staging industry in general, I don't think has a lot of that going on. But of course, I wouldn't know 100% because I'm not on the receiving end of not being selected for, they usually say like, oh, we went in another direction. That's the email I usually get when they pick some other stager. We went in another direction. And so it's usually price or some other factor. But I think it's getting some insight into that would be important as well. And then partnering with some of the other, there's got to be real estate groups that are culturally centric, where they have like African American real estate, groups. There are chambers of commerce in most cities that are larger, that are, the Black Chamber of Commerce. There's the Mexican or Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So encouraging these people to tap into those groups that already exist, and then be able to share, because it's all about who you know. I think that would also be a good approach to kind of come up with a plan for people as the SIDC, how somebody coming into the industry can be successful, and then come up with a sort of framework for them based on your experiences and, what it takes to be successful. But I think that would be helpful, sort of a guide.
I just want to say, I think, everything everyone said, it was great, but I just want to add a little bit on the end. And I would say that to encourage those people that this is happening to, for them to plug in, like we need, and you have to plug in. We're here, we are literally begging sometimes, hey, you guys want to come to the meeting, be a part of this, and we can only say so much. So I'm going to encourage people that if this is happening to them, that they need to be encouraged. They need to plug in. They have to do some work as well to plug in, to get encouraged. I was so encouraged by Deshauna's story. It's amazing. Like, and correct me if I'm wrong, 8 times was it that it took her to become Miss USA, right? Miss USA, like 8 times, like, after she did her talk at the conference. I was walking her back to her hotel room, and I asked her, I go, look, Like, but what made you, like, after number 3, number 4, you got turned down, they didn't even recognize you. What made you persist? And she just said, I just felt like I had to. I just kept going. And she knew that that wasn't her end target. So if you are out there and you know that home staging is your end target and you're getting the opposition, you're not making it. You have all these things against you. Plug in with us, plug into iHouse, plug into stagehomes.com, plug in somewhere where you can get fed and you can get that, surrounding, and you can be strong and people can encourage you, because we all come from somewhere and we all have different things that we deal with on a daily basis as a business owner, no matter if they stem towards racism or if they don't. You still got to get up, you got to find a client, no matter what color your skin is, right? You got to market no matter what color your skin is. You got to get on Facebook, you got to get on Instagram, you got to do all that no matter what color your skin is. So you got to be the person who's got to plug in. You've got to, if you want to do it, I'm telling you, there's strength in numbers and you got to plug in somewhere. So that's my little tidbit of encouragement.
Yeah,
I love
agreed.
that.
Yeah, I would agree totally. I think that a lot of stagers start out excited and then the dream dies. They get discouraged and then they just feel like, you know what, maybe this is not for me. And it takes work, but I feel like when you are plugged into a community, you have a greater chance for success. So I would stand behind Deborah in that anyone who is feeling kind of out there by themselves, be a part of IHOS, be a part of SIDC, call, connect, and get plugged in, because there are resources here. You're not alone. And many of us who have been in the industry for quite some time have walked the road, and we can tell you, we can encourage you, the do's, the don't do's, try this, don't do that. I already walked down that rabbit hole. So
Yeah.
community is everything. And that's across the board in any industry. You got to be a part of a community.
Well, and I think it's tapping into the brain trust, if you will, of people who have gone before and experienced, the same things, because there's no reason for anybody entering the industry to feel like they have to go it alone or figure it all out, because there's so many opportunities to plug in. And in particular with this group, if staging is, just building a business is difficult enough, and, learning how to market and do all that, and then you have the added element of possibly being discriminated against, or having the decisions made based on race or skin color, that element you have as a challenge, and how to overcome that. You need to tap in, because that can get very discouraging. And it's important that we have people entering the industry that stick with it long term, like Bridget, 18 years, and I'm in my 20th year. And I am hoping that the people that are getting in now don't go, okay, I tried that, and they move on to something else, 10 years from now, because we need the industry to continue forward, So I think that's super important. And yeah.
There are, I think that as a home stager, black, white, yellow, brown, whatever the color of your skin is, you really need to align yourself with the real estate industry. And I tell the girls this all the time. You need to almost mimic yourself, like the mindset of a realtor. The African American realtors, I've been to several meetings and events, and they have the same issues that we have. An African American realtor that wants to do luxury real estate has the same issues that we have, right? They talk about how they always get the entry level listings. They don't get, it's hard to get the 2 million, the $3 million listings when you're an African American. So we both, the real estate and staging community, we share some of the same pains, right? And it's time in education, it's your experience, right? A new stager often will say, well, I don't have any portfolio of work to show. So how is somebody going to hire me when they don't see any of my work? So you're going to have to start thinking outside the box, right? And saying, okay, let me see if I can connect with another African American stager that I feel comfortable with, and see if I can shadow him or her. or if they'll bring me on to work one day a week. And I always make myself available to help those who are just coming up, right? Because we all need somebody to take our hand and lift us up to the next level. And so those of us who have been in it, we need to keep ourselves of the mindset that for the next generation coming behind us, because I can tell you I won't be doing this for the rest of my life, right? But until such a time, I always try to encourage the young people. I think that there needs to be more education at the high school level, maybe even middle school level, about a career in home staging.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's, I think that's, they have the job fairs and things that happen,
Mhm.
and being able to have representatives come and talk about the industry and somehow be a partner if because we've had a couple of people take our class that hadn't even graduated from high school yet. There was a man and a young man and a young lady. And so they were sort of the anomaly, but I think being able to tell them it's a viable career choice, and then being able to work with, could be at the chapter level or just even people who want to go speak at that level, then having some sort of an incentive when these people do take a class, I think would be a good partnership. Um, and there are some junior colleges that are teaching classes on staging. There have been stagers that have taught little, one day seminars, but there's actually people getting degrees in staging. So I know of a couple that have actually done a 4-year degree revolving around it. So that's encouraging, but we have work to do for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
any last words with you, you four wonderful ladies? Anything else you want to share? I just really appreciate
Get
you all being on.
connected.
Yes, get connected. Yes. And so I
Get
put the
connected.
website address in the notes here. Deborah, it has, she's available online. So Deborah, I'm going to put your Debonair. Oops, can't spell. Debonair Home Staging. What's your email, Deborah?
It is info
Okay, info at
debonairhomestaging.com. Or should we put the iHosp one?
Okay, we'll do that one. It's better, Deborah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just Deborah or is it Deborah Plowden? Plowden? What do we give you? Deborah.Plowden at iHosp. Okay. Cool. All right. So your email's in there. So those of you watching the show now or in the future, feel free to reach out to these wonderful ladies. You can find them on social media. You find them on Facebook, Instagram. They all have wonderful businesses. And as you've heard, they're very open to helping, encourage, and, share their experiences with anybody who wants to get plugged in. So get plugged in. That's the motto for today. Get plugged in, get the support you need. You can be successful. And our goal is to just continue having an open conversation and not make people who don't look like other people that have been very successful feel like they can't be successful. So whether you're African American, Hispanic, Mexican, Latin American, whatever, East Indian, Asian community, we need to encourage those people to get involved in the industry because we're just one big melting pot and we don't want to have division lines. So thank you guys for being on. I appreciate it. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. And we will not have a show next week. I'm going to be at a conference, EXP conference. So we'll skip next week. And then the following week, we'll be back with the show. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.